I'm Melanie Johnson along with my co-host Jen Foster. We are both 13-time best-selling authors. We've published over 2,500 books and made all of our authors #1 bestsellers. We own Elite Online Publishing. If you want to become a best-selling author, look us up at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Now, welcome to the podcast that shares secrets from top industry experts that show you how to get lasting success and results. This is the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hey, welcome. It's Melanie Johnson. We hope you're having a fabulous day today. We're here for another incredible podcast that you're going to learn stuff. You're going to be inspired. You're going to be motivated. We have a great guest today. He is the author of Business Blindspots. And if you have any questions about business, how to take your business from point A to point B, you are in the right place today. He is even one of our business coaches. We can't say enough about him. But before we get started, I want to say hi to Jen. Hey, Jen, how are you doing today?
Doing great. It's an awesome day.
It is. And we want to remind you to subscribe to our podcast before we get started. Share it with other people. You're going to get so much value. Make sure you have a notepad ready and a pen handy because you're going to be writing probably nonstop in this interview. So remember to subscribe and share it. And we're going to get started with one of our business coaches. He is like the business coach to business coaches is what I want to say. He's just awesome. So welcome, Doug Winnie. We're so happy and honored to have you. You're one of our authors, #1 bestseller, international bestseller with your book, Business Blindspots. Thanks for coming today.
Well, it's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me. And you guys have been rock stars. You guys have done all the things needed to make this, to get to where it's at. So I appreciate all your help.
Great. Thanks, Doug, for being here. So tell us a little bit about how you got started and how you learned all these business blind spots and how you've been coaching these people. How did it all come about?
Well, interesting question, because this is very much what it is that business owners and actually people don't even understand, is what they don't see. And in growing businesses over the last 30 years, I've had several of my own businesses I built from scratch, sold a couple, several been multi-million dollars in size. And as I've either sold them or while I was growing them and then been coaching for the last 11 years, the reality is the things that people miss tend to be the biggest things to improve personally, professionally, and of course in a business. And I'm an entrepreneur, so I've been doing this for a long time, and I decided to finally write down into this book format things that people could just start realizing, oh, that is a blind spot. And soon as they go, oh, they can start working on it. I got lots of good examples. Of course, the book is filled with all of these blind spots, to which some people will read and go, oh, that's not a blind spot for me. Great, keep reading. And then they go, oh, yeah, we don't do that. And I promise you, I've worked with mega companies, conglomerates, and even giant companies still have blind spots that we've included in the book. It's just interesting, whether you're a startup, you've got a small business, you got a couple $1 million business, or you're a monster company. There's several things I'll even mention today that are very likely blind spots, regardless of the size of the business.
Well, yeah, you have businesses that are going out of business left and right. I mean, JCPenney, Neiman Marcus filed for bankruptcy. You've got Pier 1 Imports, Dress Barn, all these companies that have been around for a long time. And we know they had some of the blind spots in your book. Their CEO should have read your book and it could have saved them from what's going on. So let's dive into those blind spots. And one of the core things about your book are the 5 pillars. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I created the concept of pillars, or even legs of a stool. And it's really interesting because, and I didn't think about this until I started coaching, that every single business has exactly the same 5 pillars. And so think of a 5-legged stool, and those turn out to be the 5 pillars. A stool can stand pretty solid on 3 legs. Mm-hmm. And that's the reality. Most businesses survive and maybe even grow to a certain level just on 3. Mm-hmm. So I'll describe the 5, but I want you to understand, if you have all 5 working really well, then you could support a monster business. And every single business is very likely to grow to the limit of the weakest leg. And what I want to do is help people understand all 5 pillars and make sure that the one you're most comfortable with is likely the one you got the best. It's the strongest. The one you don't like the most is probably the weakest, and probably why the business doesn't grow to the level it could, because of that one pillar or that one leg. So here are the 5 pillars. Marketing. And I want everyone to understand, marketing is lead generation. It's not related to sales. Marketing is the first pillar. Sales is the second. Sales requires a different personality. It requires a different skill set. It requires a different system. Marketing is about generating leads. Sales is about converting the lead to a sale. So make sure that each one of those are different. Some people are really good at sales and they're not good at lead generation. Other people are good at lead generation, not good at sales. Very few people are good at both. And so even when you're hiring people, you want to be sure we're hiring people for one of those roles. Now, once we have done the lead generation, we converted the lead into a sale. Now we must do something. So the third pillar is operations. And this is where many people are really good. For example, you guys, awesome at publishing, awesome at getting stuff done, right? But you might not be good at your own marketing, right? As just like lawyers, their operations side, they're really good at being a lawyer. A dentist, really good at being a dentist, but not good at maybe marketing and sales. So operations is what most business owners tend to be good at. And there's a lot of areas inside of operations. The third pillar is operations. Fourth pillar is actually money, finance, counting the beans, right? Profitability, margins, where every dollar, what part of every dollar goes to what part of the business. So finance is an area that I've discovered a lot of business owners aren't very good at. And if they are good at finance, they're usually horrible, absolutely horrible at the fifth and final pillar, and that's team. Right? So we got marketing, get leads, sales, convert a lead, operations, turn the sale into something for the client, finance, make money, understand where the money's going, and then use the team to leverage the business and the growth. So those are the 5 pillars that are very well defined in the book, Business Blindspots.
I love it. And I think that the number 5 kind of ties it all together, because if you don't have a team, you are going to fall, right? So if that one pillar, or that one leg of the stool, I mean, you could know the finances, know where the money goes, but if you don't have a team to back you up and help you grow the business. Yeah.
Think about, we want to say, one of the things I teach from ActionCOACH is that Brad Sugar says that the definition of a successful business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that runs without you. And so people get burned out because they're wearing all the hats. They're wearing the finance hat or not wearing it much. They're getting the leads, they're converting the leads through sales, they're doing the work. They don't have a team, right? And a lot of people think that a team means money, costs, right? Money going out, right? So I love to say, well, what is the profit per employee? What's the revenue per employee? Help business owners think differently about team. It's not a cost center. Team members need to be a profit center. Even if it's just an assistant, you make, well, they don't make me money. Well, if you use an assistant properly, then you're out selling or producing things more instead of doing paperwork that the assistant would be doing. So yes, assistant can be a revenue source, a profit source.
That's a great way to look at it. I think most people don't look at it. They look at it as outgo. There's no ROI necessarily on the team. What are you finding with the environment today as being the biggest hurdle for a lot of companies? A lot of them are having to pivot. Are you seeing some kind of common thread that you teach in your book, Business Blindspots, that you're saying over and over again more recently?
Yep. Well, the cool thing is that, the little yellow star on the front of the book, right, actually says recession checklist included. And I started off saying, well, it needs to say pandemic checklist included, but really the pandemic and recession are going to be the same things. And the only thing that I'd say is different today than, before pandemic is that I'll say, how do I say this without being too blunt? Maybe I can't. Business owners have been lazy. Lazy business owners, because the markets are so huge. You can open up a restaurant and literally have a good income without having good team, without having even good product, because people will try out the restaurant for a long time. And until somebody gives a bad review and people start checking out Yelp and other places, you can do quite well. So business owners have been relatively lazy. Due to pandemic, they realize, wait, my marketing channels are less than they used to be.
Yeah.
Maybe the market size is smaller than it used to be. I mean, I have lots of restaurants that are clients, and several are growing. They're doing more this year than they did last year. All because they've learned to be better marketers. They've learned to be better salespeople, right? Their average dollar sale is up larger than it was before. They're selling more to fewer people, but they're making more money, more bottom line profits, right? So something that I think is really critical is that somebody asked me a little earlier this week was, what is it that we really teach business owners? And I say that, one of the things I teach business owners is that they make their own economy, right? Make your own economy. It doesn't matter too much for the micro business. The business doing less than $100 million a year. They really do make their own economy. Now, if you happen to have restaurants that are scattered all around the country and they all get shut down at the same time, well, there's a problem. Right? But the speed at which you come up with delivery, the speed at which you come up with takeout, the speed at which you change your packaging, is the speed at which you become successful. And then when the pandemic is over and you're back to full-time restaurateuring and people are dining in, there's still people who'll be doing carryout. Your business can literally double or even more because you figure out how to pivot, come up with a delivery model. So the big thing is make your own economy.
Yeah, I love that. And the way you said, you really do have to pivot or adjust. It's that operations. You think you have it down, and then a pandemic happens and you have to pivot or adjust the way that you do your marketing or your operations in order to get the more people or the less people in where they are buying more stuff.
Yeah, I mean, every local economy has something dramatic. Here in Houston, we have hurricanes, right? In the West Coast, they have earthquakes and now fires, sadly. The east and up north has big snowstorms. Everybody has something, right? It's your ability to understand the problem. And I like to say they're not roadblocks, they're speed bumps. Go over, go around, or go through. But don't let it be a wall that prevents you from moving forward. Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about key performance indicators. You address this in the book, Business Blindspots, and we found this to be so useful in our business. And it's painful because we have to go through them all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll just mention a couple because they're actually blind spots. So a key performance indicator, or KPI, in business is a critical element. Now, big businesses tend to do it well, but sometimes they don't teach it well. They're doing the measurement, but they're not actually teaching how the measurement is beneficial in a business. So here's a very simple one. A KPI related to marketing. It's a blind spot, and it's the cost per lead. Like, how much money do you put into marketing, divide by all of the leads, and you get a good KPI, cost per lead. Right? I mentioned something else earlier, average dollar sale. What is your average dollar sale? Right? These are critical KPIs, profit per employee. All are critical key performance indicators, and every role in every business, so the employees' jobs should have maybe half a dozen KPIs to help make sure we're managing and measuring important things in the business. Yeah, so KPIs are critical to the number side of things. And once again, people's behavior patterns tend to like or dislike numbers, just like some people dislike people, right? And so it's okay. Still have to get done, whether you do it or somebody else does it. And once again, if you don't have a big enough business, it's still required. You may go, but I don't like doing that. I'm going to have to hire somebody to do that. Well, if you're not making enough profits, you can't hire somebody. But if you don't do the math, you don't understand the KPIs that grow your business, then you can hire somebody. So yeah, you got to do it even if you don't like it.
Yeah, and just finding those figures, and it's eye-opening when you do. I mean, when you ran us through all of those things, I think we always would kind of do it in our head and it was fluffy. And when you really do it, you're like, aha, you know, the light bulbs all went off. The one thing I want to touch on again, is you said, because you mentioned earlier about team profit per employee. How do you figure that out? How do you figure out, is there a formula to see if an employee is profitable?
No, great question. So the first important math is just all profits divided by total employees. So you get an average profit per employee.
Okay.
And you do the same thing with revenue, average revenue per employee. So you just start there. Then, depending on the role, you can actually do a P&L statement, profit and loss statement per person or per role, right? And now let's just say the marketing department, which doesn't generate revenue. It does generate leads, but you can come up with a P&L because you go, let's say 50% of our leads become customers, right? So then you could just say, all right, the average profit per sale is X, and every time we get 2 leads, we get 1 customer. Divide all that out, and you'll get profit per marketing team member. Right? So last time I did that, it's interesting and it's very common, right? A marketing person could get you to 5 to 10 times their salary a year in profit. Now, if you did the math and you go, okay, my marketing person is getting me 5 times their salary in profit, maybe you should hire another marketing person and another marketing person because, well, it works if you do the math. If you don't do the math, you don't even know.
I think that's a really big blind spot in a lot of companies, is that measuring. Like they think they know the numbers, like Melanie and I, we have them in our heads, or we kind of looked at them on a paper, but we didn't really do the math, or we didn't really say, this is our profit per employee, or this is our, you know, whatever KPI.
Yeah, cost per lead, or even cost to acquire a client.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing. Whatever marketing dollars went out last year, so you just take all the marketing dollars of the last 12 months, divide into it all the number of new customers you got. It's a number. When we have clients do this, it's shocking. They're like, what? $35 to buy a new customer? Yeah. What's your average profit per sale? And they go, $75. So you're putting out $30, $35 to get $75. Is that okay? They're like, yeah. So then the realization, the aha, is I need to do more marketing. I'm like, yes, you need to do more marketing. And that KPI, that measurement, should be done monthly, not quarterly, not annually. It needs to be done monthly.
Yep. Like I said, it can be painful if you've never done it before, but the pain, it hurts so good.
It's good ahas. Yeah, absolutely good ahas. Yeah.
And then talk about mindset. That's so important to get over the hurdle. I remember one of the first growth clubs I went to, and I asked, it was a couple that I asked, I said, well, do you think this is worth it? I mean, have you gotten a benefit from it? And the one person was like, I just kept fighting it. I didn't want to agree with what they were saying. Like, do we really have to do that? And it said, once I got past that, it was like, oh my gosh, it really works. Oh, you know, I just, and everyone I asked at Growth Club, I must have asked 5 different people. It was unanimous. Just do what they tell you to do. Don't fight it. We fought it. And then once we stopped fighting it, it works. So talk to us about mindset in business and overcoming those hurdles and getting your mind going in the right place.
Well, understand that we tend to follow what our mind tells us to do, whether it's good or bad, whether it's true or false, regardless of the good, the bad, the ugly. I mean, you see the stories, there's all kinds of things. Oh, people did this because they thought that's what they should do.
Right.
Right. And my job and our job at our firm is to help people realize that that might not be right. Right. Yeah. Hiring on skill first versus attitude first. Right. So we talk about how to hire on attitude before hiring on skill. And people are like, well, no, I got to have them do something. I said, yeah, you're going to have them do something with a bad attitude and you'll hate it. Yeah. You have somebody do something with a good attitude and you'll love them. Yeah. So hire on attitude first. And so changing your mindset on attitude is more important than skill. Well, it's changing your mindset. Right? Your belief maybe, but they got to know, and I actually just got off of a coaching session with a client about the skill in the restaurant world, right? And so I'm sure you're going to have listeners that own restaurants in the restaurant business, right? And so it's just chatting with, actually I got quite a few restaurant clients, which is an exciting time to be helping them, because good news, people still eat even during a pandemic, which is what they call the COVID-20, I think, 20 pounds. Still thinking about a restaurant, right? And the skills required to be in the kitchen, skills required to be a waiter or a waitress, right? It is a low skill job.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they think they need a decade of experience in cooking, right? But it's like, well, wait a minute. Multi-million-dollar operations run with high school students that have no experience flipping burgers, frying things, doing all kinds, and it's even the large chains, they've systemized how to do the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've not systemized how to do your cooking, the recipes aren't well defined, you don't have videos, you don't have pictures, you don't have it very well structured, then you're going to hire people with lots of experience and they'll have bad attitude. So hire people with low experience, teach them well, have great systems, and you'll never be short of a team. But see, that's a mindset issue. They have to learn some things that people have been taught differently. Yeah. And one of the things I love to say, Melanie, is that understand your mindset is actually a skill set.
Ah.
How do you work on growing your mind like you would grow your muscles?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And think about it. It's like, do you watch the news? Does the news help you become a better person? No, it doesn't. There's nothing that's going to be on the news that help you be a better person. As a fact, everything on the news is likely to help you be less of a better person. You will be more fearful of the world coming to an end. Whichever political party you don't like is likely to be in office, and you're going to be in a bad place.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, your mindset causes you to do wrong things. Next thing you know, your business is going down and you blame the political party that's now in office. Well, you create your own economy. It starts with your mindset.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I just love teaching this because it's amazing when people really get the aha, like you talk about, right? Next thing you know, they're like, oh, I'm creating my own economy. People are buying from me. Yeah, because your mindset's right.
And those systems are so important that we found that you've taught us, is really having the systems of operation. And I love the example, fast food, a franchise, they have everything, every single thing down to a detail. Talk about, again, it's a painful process, but having all the systems in place, and I bet you find a lot of businesses that don't have that.
Yeah.
And how does it stop you from growing when you don't have that?
Yeah. Well, here's another blind spot documented quite well inside of the book, is what is your system for creating raving fans? It's part of operations, right? So a raving fan, by definition, is somebody who does the selling for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Action Coach has taught me, I use it a lot, about how to create raving fans. Help people get to the point that they do the selling for you. That can be systemized. You follow the process one step at a time. Next thing you know, they become raving fans. But it's a system, right? And so, you start off with making sure that they were happy. Then you do a survey, and then you reach out to them again, and you help encourage them to give you reviews, right? And how well is that systemized? And then how well is that followed up on? Right? I mean, that's a system.
Yeah.
And so, people think of systems related to, the widget they're creating, right? Sort of like maybe a automotive plant, right? So what's on the line, that's a system. Yeah, that's true. That's a system. But there's also a system of, how does your team answer the telephone? What do they say? That's a system.
Yeah.
As soon as you write it down and say, all right, new employee, this is how we answer the phone. That's a system.
Yep.
You create a video. That's a system. You take pictures. That's a system. So the more things you do, right, that's systemized, you don't have to repeat. And that's the nice part about it. The system, by the way, acronym is save yourself time, energy, and money. SYSTEM. Save yourself time, energy, and money.
Do it once, have it recorded. All right, I want to shift just a little bit into sales because we've talked about marketing and some operations and systems and the money part of it. I want to talk about closing, converting that sale, because I think that's a big challenge for a lot of companies. They get the leads, but then they're not enrolling them and converting them into customers.
Absolutely. Well, here's two really quick blind spots. One is, what is the conversion rate? Most people don't know the percentage of leads. Matter of fact, most people don't even count the leads. So anyway, counting the leads and then calculate what percent of them are buying from you. So understanding your conversion rate. That's a blind spot. Another blind spot related to conversion rate is having a goal. Somebody taught me a long time ago, your conversion rate should be at 80%.
Wow.
1 out of 5 shouldn't buy because of price. 4 out of 5 should buy because of all the value you offer. So now you know your pricing is right if 4 out of 5 buy. My conversion rate is very close to 100%. When I meet business owners, they tend to want to enroll in a coaching program. My coaches have told me, Doug, you need to raise your prices because I need to have 1 out of 5 not buy. Anyway, so making sure you understand what is your conversion rate is a blind spot. Having a goal to improve it, right, will just automatically improve it. It's kind of shocking how good that works. What is it? Create a goal. It starts to go better. Right? Another blind spot is the number of touches or the number of steps that exist in your sales process.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, some of our early clients, might be a landscape company. So they come out, they get the lead, they go out, they do a plan, they give them a proposal, and that's it. Sort of a two-step sales process.
Mm-hmm.
So science, people have done studies and determined that if there's 7 touches or more in the sales process, the conversion rate goes up significantly. So, in this case, the landscaping company needs to have at least 7 touches.
Mm-hmm.
So, that might involve sending them some videos ahead of time. That might involve having them send the customer that's going to sign up with them pictures of things that they like to see in other people's yards. Go take pictures of people's front yards that you like. Look in these magazines. Here's a couple examples. Do this, do that, right? So that when the proposal comes out, because they haven't said no each step of the way, psychologically, they've said yes.
Mm.
And so it's interesting when someone has said not no or yes 7 times, when that proposal comes out, it's not a big deal. They're like, yeah, I think we need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So another big blind spot in the sales is make sure you have enough touches. 7 or more is highly, statistically proven.
It's that know, like, and trust factor, right?
Yeah.
You've talked to them more than twice, they're going to like you more and trust you more.
And really, I like to turn it around. If they're willing to talk to you more than twice, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you've been a wealth of knowledge. If you want more information, you need to pick up that book, Business Blind Spots, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Walmart.com, everywhere books are sold.
Yeah, and tell us, Doug, where people can go to find you or to get more information about the book.
Absolutely. The website is businessblindspotsbook.com. So it's businessblindspotsbook.com. Easy to get there, lots of information, some videos, some more education. It's coming out an Audible, it's in paperback, hardback, and of course, Kindle.
Awesome. We'll put the link up.
Fantastic speaker. You can book Doug Winnie to speak for your company or your event or your summit. So he's available for that, and of course for coaching. But he has a very limited space for that. So you're very special if you get in to be coached by him. So thanks for coming today. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. And if you're looking to become a best-selling author, contact us at Elite Online Publishing to see if you qualify. Fill out the submission form, and we'll get back to you and talk to you and see if we're a good fit and you're a good fit for us. So remember to subscribe to the podcast, share it with everyone you know. Thanks again, Doug Winnie, for being on, and get that #1 international best-selling book, Business Blind Spots. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a great day.
Bye. Have a great day.
Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.